Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Good morning, Barrister.
Good morning.
Well, fantastic.
It's nice to be on set with you.
Fantastic to have you join us. We've been trying to get a hold of you to make comments on the recent removal of the Benue State Chief Judge, over allegations of financial infractions and all of that, especially by the side of the governor of Benue State, talking about Governor Alia, Hyacinth Alia, who had alleged that the CJ was had overstepped certain boundaries. What do you make of this development stemming from Benue State?
It's all about politics, and it is wrong to introduce politics into the judiciary. And when the only person who really can have power to remove the CJ is the NJC, not the governor. The governor merely makes recommendation. If he has recommended the removal of the CJ by the NJC, we will understand. But to bring politics into the whole thing isn't of good taste at all. It's wrong, and it's very, very unfortunate that this should be happening in 2025 when we are supposed to be moving forward instead of moving backward.
All right, well, the argument from the side of the governor is that the CJ had been accused of misleading the public and avoiding corruption allegations. Also, they had alleged that the CJ had mismanaged over 600 million naira in judiciary funds and abused his office and interfered politically. Now, you said that this is politics coming into the judiciary, yet we see the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Teso Kula, stating that it was the CJ that had started this whole political play by meddling into politics when he should have stayed clear of it.
You see, the executive most often corrupts the judiciary by dragging the judiciary into politics. Now, if they are claiming, according to them, that the CJ is corrupt, where is the indictment? Where is the where they have to go through some procedures? They have to go procedures to show the CJ is corrupt. And who actually sat over a panel indicting the CJ? So if the CJ is the only one that can set up an administrative or investigative panel of inquiry into any allegations of corruption outside the court, he can set up a full a panel with a full judicial powers or panel with quasi-judicial powers. And if the governor is afraid that the CJ is doing his job properly and is not comfortable, then it's unfortunate. It's a very unfortunate thing to actually imagine. But as it is, the government should steer clear of the CJ's role and the role of the judiciary. If he has anybody he favors and wants to become CJ, acting CJ before CJ, what if the NJC chooses not to approve the selection of that person? It should not introduce politics that will affect him, because in the next 2 years it's election. So he may have made projections that the CJ may not favor him for whatever reason. But he should have rather do what we call mainstreaming. Do his work into the CJs, into the judiciary, and ensure that the judiciary is well funded to perform its functions, not trying to twist the CJ in the name, the judiciary in the name of twisting the CJ.
Now, Barrister Clifford, let me get this point clearly. You mentioned that Governor Alia might have, anticipated that the Chief Judge will not favor him ahead of the elections in the next 2 years. What exactly has the judiciary got to do with the electoral process peculiar to Benue State? I mean, if the electorates would go to the polls and cast their ballots, that is left for INEC to decide, and not necessarily the
INEC is the first to give the first gatekeeper in the process of who wins election properly. The politicians are played into the hands of the judiciary. So most often they try to control the judiciary by twisting methods or by inducement or whatever method, whether conventional or unconventional. And where they notice that the judiciary is going to be very hard not to crack, they try to twist it through allegations, through information that will discredit the entire judiciary by picking a very senior judicial officer to indict and using that indictment to further spread the indictment. The judiciary in Nigeria has a very heavy role to play in who becomes or who takes whatever position. Governor, president, senator, House of Rep, House of Assembly, or whoever. Every electoral process in Nigeria ends up with the judiciary becoming the ombudsman and the person and the one that actually decides who should take what. That's what the politicians wanted, and that's what they've been doing. So once they find a very objective and independent judiciary, they become very scared of it and would want to go ahead to actually ensure that they can control the judiciary. That is what it is. 2027 is in view, and a lot of politicians are afraid. They are realigning and they are working hard to ensure that they can control the judiciary.
Now, Barrister Clifford, Justice Ikpambese has been heavily criticized, especially in Benue State, for his public outburst after his removal. And people have cited that instead of making the matter public, he should have referred to or defended himself at the National Judicial Council instead of the public outburst that he had exhibited, considering his high profile in the state.
You can't beat a child and prevent the child from crying. You can't do that. It's a very strong saying, and it's axiomatic in Africa to say you can't beat a child and prevent the child from crying. Now, the outburst is what has actually brought that issue to the public purview, and people are discussing it. Experts are discussing it. I think the Senate met and said they are going to refer that matter to the NJC, and the NJC will actually follow the procedure. They are going to reinstate him. They are going to reinstate because, we don't have a she in the judiciary. They are going to reinstate him, and by the time they do that, it will be to the eternal shame of the government and his cronies. So the outburst was well articulated because it has brought the matter to the front burner. Now, you don't beat a child and expect the child not to cry. You remove the chief judicial officer of the state and expecting him not to decry it, not to tell the public his own side of the story. No, that will be unfair. You must give him fair hearing. That is what the Constitution requires. Even God requires fair hearing. Let him tell his side of the story. You cannot remove him through an illegal means and expect him not to talk.